Hello, traders. Today's theme is macro shift. This shouldn't come as any surprise to you. I've been talking about it for the last 3 months. Macroeconomic conditions are deteriorating. That's why the market has pulled back. Sure, the tariffs are creating some uncertainty, but it's that macro change that's going to be weighing on profits and weighing on the market. Before I get started, I'd like to put up a cartoon character that you might be familiar with. This is Spike the Bulldog and Chester the Terrier. I feel like Spike the Bulldog a lot of times because I give you what the market is going to be doing and I give you some trades to look at. And a lot of you are Chester the Terrier. Spike, what do you think? What do you think? What should we do? What should we do? Should we chase some cats? Huh? Should we chase some cats? What do you think, Spike? Take a deep breath. Okay, I give you these picks and it's going to take time for the trade to set up. I'm trying to give you trade ideas that are going to work based on what the market is doing. And recently, we've got some potential good news that's going to be hitting the market that comes in the form of trade deals, that comes in the form of earnings releases, that comes in the form of potential economic releases. So we had lots of news pending. This morning, we got a really important piece of information. ADP, 66,000, 114,000 new jobs in the month of April expected for the private sector. We're starting to see a slowdown in job growth. GDP, the Fed was all over the place on this number. You had Fed regional banks that were looking for a 2.4% decline. That was Atlanta. You had others that were looking for a 2% increase. GDP came out this morning minus 0.3%. I've seen consensus estimates somewhere around the 0.3% increase side. That was the consensus estimate. So clearly, GDP is now in negative territory. We are seeing an economic slowdown. So let's go back and let's take a look at my pick from last Sunday. I had mentioned to you that IBM was the kind of stock that we want to have on our radar and that I'm starting to see some signs of weakness in it. Monday morning, I start getting, hey, Pete, do we short it now? Do we short it now? Do we short it now? Is this the time? Huh? No, I told you in the video exactly what we needed to see. And everything starts with the market. The market drives all of our decision making. And we use technical analysis for that. And we know when we've got major news releases coming that might impact the market. So what happened to IBM? Well, you can see how IBM bumped up against the 100-day moving average, the blue line. That's good. We want to see that resistance level hold. We don't want to see it get above this horizontal. Was support, now resistance level. We want that to be intact. We want the 100-day moving average to act as resistance. We want to see a rejection off of that level. Have we seen a big rejection off of that level? No, not particularly. Stock is still holding up pretty well, all things considered this morning. So, no, what do? You set an alert. This kind of reminds me of going into Buffalo Wild Wings and you've got 50 different screens up with 50 different games on. Some traders like to sit with an array of monitors and they've got 15 stocks in front of them. Well, at Buffalo Wild Wings, you can't even catch the games and watch any one of them. Your attention is spread out all over the place. What I prefer to do is I like to focus on watching one game. And then later on, I can catch the other games on YouTube where they compress the entire game into about a 10-minute segment, and I can watch the whole thing in 10 minutes without any penalties or without any advertisements. That, to me, is a much better way to catch all of the action. The same is true when I'm trading. I only need 3 charts. I like to have a 5-minute chart of the SPY up always. I like to have a D1 chart of the stock. I like to have an M5 chart of the stock. I don't need to have a ton of monitors. I use technology to help me trade. I use alerts. So what did I do? All right, IBM looks like it could be an interesting short here, but I don't want to track it all the time. So I right click on it, I create alert, I go in and I select a longer time frame because this is a swing trade that I was looking at, and I select HA reversal on a 1 hour basis when it is bearish. So when I get a bearish HA reversal on IBM, let me know. Well, if I go into the 1 hour chart, you'll see that we had this long red candle right here. That was an HA reversal with a flat top. This morning I got my alert. Does that mean that I jump on it right away? No, I'm simply evaluating what the stock is doing relative to the market. It could represent an opportunity. Today, I'm not really seeing it because you can see how the stock has been able to recover almost all of its losses. You'll also see that the market has recovered nicely. So I had a little bit of an overreaction early. I'd mentioned in my pre-open market comments today, hey, you know what? I'm looking for two-sided price action today. Why? What makes you think that? How can you be so certain? Well, I don't know anything, but if I think about what's happening over the course of the next couple of days, we've still got a lot of news pending. So even though GDP came in weaker than expected, the price component, by the way, was hotter than expected. So softer economic growth along with higher inflation is not a good combination for the market. We also had SMCI posted earnings. They reduced their revenue guidance for this year substantially. So that's going to be weighing on the chip sector. But we have Microsoft and Meta after the close. Then we've got Amazon and Apple. Still lots of earnings news. I happen to think that those earnings are going to weigh on the market. I'm not looking for the market to take off on that news. So I believe that the market has backed off of a resistance level, and it just barely poked through that 550 level, and then now we get a rejection off of it. So I'm going to be watching for confirmation. I'm going to be watching the price action today. The reason that I felt that two-sided price action was likely today is because buyers are not just going to throw in the towel. There's still this big news out there, and these are mega cap tech companies, 4 of the largest companies in the world. So somebody is going to be out there going, the market's not going to go to hell in a handbasket. This is probably a good entry point to get long because we still have these big mega cap tech earnings, and those companies have been driving the market higher. That's why I felt we were going to get two-sided price action before the market even opened. I am short, and I did add on a new low of the day, but I'm also more than happy to be short on a swing basis. There's a starter position and an add. So I am looking to be short longer term. I know that I could have a trade deal that comes out that could produce a move higher, and I'm willing to take that heat because I feel that that is going to be temporary. I also feel that the 10% tariffs that are going to be enacted across the board are kind of being discounted and overlooked. We're not going to have 50%, 100% tariffs. 10% tariffs, yeah, that's the base. And then countries are negotiating what impact or what tariffs they're going to have above and beyond that 10% level. We'll see what plays out. So that's how I'm approaching the market right now on a D1 basis. Yes, we have backed off of this was support, now resistance. That's a failed breakout, still well below the 50-day moving average. I was even willing to let the market go up to the 50-day moving average. I just didn't want to race up to it. And even in the last week, we've seen lots of back and forth. Well, that's not a steady rally. When you get price action like this, you sell off all day and then you rally back and you recover those losses. That is not a sign that buyers are super aggressive because you never would have seen a drop like that. So when you look at this candle on a D1 chart, you don't realize what actually happened during the course of the day, and you look at it, and this is what the price action looked like, and you think, it's just a normal candle. There's nothing special about it. This is the type of stubborn price action that you won't pick up on a D1 chart, but that you can see on an M5 chart. And this is a tiny little doji candle that shows, yes, the move higher is strained. There is resistance. There is some selling pressure. We are not stacking one green candle on top of the other. That would be a sign of strong buying. We're not seeing that. So what I wanted to see, and in my last video, I made this really, really clear. I want to see the market struggle to get to that 50-day moving average. And if I see that, when all the potential bullish catalysts have played out, economic releases, earnings releases, even the FOMC next week, possible trade deals, when all that stuff has filtered through, then I feel that all of these little upside catalysts will have run their course. Short sellers are going to be more emboldened to short after mega cap tech earnings. That's when everything's going to play out. And these bounces are very typical. So you want to let them run their course. You want the market to hit that resistance and gradually start rolling over. That is your entry point for your short position. So yes, right now I am short. I'm happy being short. I know that I could still see a move up to the 50-day moving average. I don't care, because ultimately I think that this 480 level is going to be tested. Pete, what's your target? Do you think that the market's going to go down to 400? I don't know. What I do know is that the way that the market gets down to this support level is going to tell me how aggressive sellers are. If we get there with stacked long red candles, that's going to be a sign of very heavy selling pressure. If we drift and bump and grind all the way down and bounce, no, that's going to tell me that support at 480 is probably going to be established and that I need to take profits on my short positions. So I don't know how we're going to get there. I'm going to watch and I'm going to evaluate. That's what we have to do constantly, even with our positions right now. So let's take a look again at that 5-minute chart, and I'll give you my analysis for the morning. You can see that we had this pretty big drop, nice selling pressure, and we had what I consider to be a fairly strong, very tall bounce. Look how we just blew right through VWAP. Wasn't even there, okay? If this was going to be a bearish trend day, here's what you would have seen. You would have seen a nice drop like this, and maybe not even a green candle this early. You certainly would not have been able to blow through VWAP. You would have been grinding, and then you would have seen another leg lower that really didn't even test VWAP. You also would have seen this bounce happening much later in the morning, because sellers would have been aggressive, driving that price down, driving VWAP itself down. And then after about 2 hours, you get this meager little attempt to get back to VWAP, and you roll over before you even get there. That's what a bearish trend day looks like. Well, what did this day look like? Got a half hour of heavy selling and boom, right through VWAP. No worries. Now, could even get into the gap here for the day. So, is that going to concern me? I've got short positions on? No, because I'm looking at longer term price action. And I believe that once we get through this news, that we're going to revisit that low probably in the next 2 months or so. It could be a gradual move lower. So that's what I have in mind right now as far as how I'm trading it. I'm not going to get spooked out of the position. Yeah, sure, if we blow through the 50-day moving average in the next 2 weeks, then I've got to reconsider my short position. But right now, I'm very comfortable being short on a longer term basis, and we are in a bearish market cycle. 50-day moving average below 200-day moving average, bearish cross. starting to see resistance after a decent bounce. This long green candle is what I consider a solo. Took us a long time to recapture it and get back. So, yeah, I'm starting to see signs of resistance. Okay, well, I'm not going to be able to time my entry perfectly, but I'm going to at least get my first positions on so that if something happens overnight, maybe the earnings come out, we get negative reactions to them, I've at least got some starter positions on that I can add to. And I also know that we could rally up to the 50-day moving average because I've got smaller positions on. I'm not even going to sweat it. Okay. I don't care. I'm looking at the big picture. So hopefully those concepts are going to resonate with you. We need to wait for these windows of opportunity to set up. And we don't need to be rushing in full force. Boom, Pete said he's bearish. Put everything on it. No, you scale in gradually and then you wait for price confirmation. And so what will I be watching for today? What do I want to see today? Well, the first thing that I'd like to see today is I'd like to see the opening preserved. I don't want to go into the gap very much. I want to see the selling pressure build, and then I'd like to come back below VWAP, and then we can muddle around all day around VWAP. I think that's probably a very likely scenario. How do you know? How can you tell me that? Well, because we had selling pressure early, we had a nice bounce early. That tells me the buyers and sellers are engaged, and we're likely to see some back and forth choppy price movement ahead of big announcements coming the next 3 days. And the market will just kind of sit around VWAP, and then we'll see how the news comes out the next day. So will we test the low? Yeah, we easily could test the low and then bounce right off of it. That's what I'm looking for. Could even see a wedge formation form right around VWAP. Could take a couple of hours. So there will be opportunities on the long side and the short side. I'm going to be focusing on the short side. So what do I like? Any stocks that look particularly attractive to me? Well, let's take a look at IBM. This is a 1-hour chart. I can tell you right off the bat, yes, it's sold off. That's nice. But this bullish engulfing candle, no, that's not great. I don't want to see that. It's not what I'm looking for in IBM. It has not softened up enough for me to want to trade this. And so by setting that alert, when we get the next H1 HA reversal, I'm going to get that alert. I'll be able to look at the stock and I'll evaluate it again. What else do I like on the short side? So right now, no, I don't like IBM short. You can see how the stock is in the gap. That's strong. No short there. So let's go through and take a look. I've already done this. SMCI, I'd mentioned to you, was a post-earnings play, and they came out and substantially reduced their revenue guidance for the rest of the year. And this I consider to be a valid uptrend line, a significant one, and a pretty good breakdown below it. So technically, this stock is breaking down, and it could be a good short. If I take a look at Dell, was another one that came up on heavy selling. What has Dell done? Well, you can see that the stock has hit resistance at the 50-day moving average, but it has earnings coming up about a month from now, so 5/29. That's good because it gives me plenty of time. So drops below AVWAP. Okay, good. I've got lots of time till the next earnings report. Good. Resistance is in place. You've got 200-day, 100-day, 50-day, all in alignment. Okay, that tells me that this stock is relatively weak, and it has been relatively weak. You can see how the stock popped back up above AVWAP-E. Okay, I want to start seeing some signs of relative weakness. If Microsoft comes in with a bad number today, could it impact Dell? Yeah, it probably will. I don't know how Microsoft is going to come out. I'm going to be waiting and watching. But Dell, I think, sets up as a nice short. So what has it done today? Is it telling me that it's ready to roll over? No. Look what it did. Even before the market bounced. And this is a critical lesson. Even before the market bounced, this stock sold off and it's been grinding higher. That drop was way overextended right out of the gate. So the stock has been rallying and now it's starting to hit some resistance. I don't want it to fill any more of this gap. I want it to hit resistance right here. And I would like to see it rolling over before the market even does. Certainly as the market rolls over, I would like to see it crumble quickly. So what am I going to do with Dell? It looks like a really good short. Well, I'm going to go in and I'm going to set an alert on it. And I'm going to set, I think I'll use HA reversal again. Let's take a look at the 30-minute to find out when the last HA reversal might have happened and what the current status is. So you can see that it's currently on a bearish HA reversal because that is a flat top candle. So this is on a 30-minute basis. What can I do? Right click, create alert. Go in, look at all these variables you have to choose from. 3/8 crossovers, compression breakouts, HA reversals, key bars, ADX, relative strength, relative weakness, LRSI. These are all really useful variables, and it's just a matter of which ones resonate with you, which ones you like the most, which ones you rely on the most. So in this particular case, I'm going to use HA reversal and I'm going to go into a 30-minute chart. Why 30 minutes? Why not 5 minutes? Because I want it to be fairly stubborn. And right now it's going to know that the system is currently on a bearish HA reversal. So when I mark bearish here, our servers know that first I have to see a bullish HA reversal, then I need to see a bearish HA reversal, and only then will an alert trigger. When I get the alert, then I go in and I evaluate Dell. Does it have relative weakness? Yes, it does. Is it below technical support? Yes, it is. Great, then I have a potential trade and I don't need to keep monitoring it. So I'm going to add that alert. And this is how I spend my day. I don't spend my day watching 50 charts. I spend my day looking for really good charts that are potentially setting up, and I place alerts on them. And then through the course of the day, I get alerts, alerts, alerts. Some of them are for day trades. Those are really short-term alerts. Some of them are for swing trades. There I use longer time frames. That's how I do this. And during the course of the day, I'm constantly getting alerts. Now, if I get a H1 alert, I'm going to know, ding, 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 that's going to be a swing trade. That's why I use the longer time frame. If it's an M5 alert, I'm going to know that it was a short-term trade that I was looking for. So that's how we do it. I do like Dell on the short side. I'm going to go through and see if there's anything else that I like that I'm going to highlight. It's the same thing you would do with IBM as well. So let's see if anything is on ice cold as a really good search. Let me take off the option liquidity because this is such a great search. I don't have anything on it, which is not unusual. This is a very, very restrictive search. So you don't see many candidates on it, but when you do, they tend to be really good. CRDO I'm looking at, TECK. I'm going to highlight a stock that I shorted yesterday and I'm still in the short. It's a choppy one, but I like it. And I think that's what I'm going to highlight today. And it is CELH. And let me get the chart up here. CELH is rolling over very gradually. Is there anything here that I can really sink my teeth into? Well, it is relatively weak, and that's nice. It doesn't have heavy volume, and it's kind of a choppy stock, but it does have some nice trend lines that are serving as resistance, and it's got major support here. You can see AVWAP-E, you can see the 50-day, you can see the 200-day moving average. All of these things are converging in here, and the stock has been crowning when the market has been rallying. So what does that mean? Well, you can see how we've had a nice rally the last 2 weeks for the market. What's the stock been doing in 2 weeks? It's been losing its bid. It's gradually rolling over. So I like this short. I want to see more relative weakness. On a day like today, I'd like to see the stock really tank. But yes, this is one I would be comfortable shorting. And then I want it to get to that 200-day moving average very quickly when it does drop, like long red candle and then long red candle with some follow through. So yeah, I would feel very comfortable shorting CELH. But Pete, look, you have a rally here. Isn't this a strong stock? Well, no, it's not, because you can see on a longer term basis here, it's been selling off since May of 2024, the last year. This is a 1 year downtrend. This is a nice little bounce that's run its course. It's starting to hit some resistance, and it sure looks ready to roll over to me. So this is another stock that I'm going to be watching on the short side. Right now, I'm only interested in the short side. So that's how I'm going to be trading the market. Those are the things that I'm going to be watching over the course of the next 2 days. And again, the point to remember is that there are going to be some little moves higher, and those are going to be your trade deals that are likely to come out in the next week or two. The Fed has been hawkish. Everyone's expecting them to cut rates in June. I think they probably will, but the statement next week, I don't think it's going to be particularly dovish, to be honest with you. And I don't think that a 0.3% decline in GDP is going to sway them. If the jobs report on Friday came in at 50,000 when 150 is expected, that might get their attention. But initial jobless claims have actually been pretty good the last 4 weeks or so. So I'm not expecting that to play out. By the way, if you look at the household survey component of the jobs report, which is commonly overlooked, that has been weakening for a long time. So it's important to kind of know all of the number and not just the headline portion of it. So we're starting to see some resistance. There's nothing right now that says gangbusters, I have to be short or I have to be long. We can expect some choppy price movement right in here for the next week or so while all this news plays out. And then I believe that the bad news is going to start accumulating, and you're going to start to see some concerns that global economic conditions are deteriorating, and that's when the market will roll over. I'll also say that the tariffs aren't a surprise. Companies were planning for this a long time ago, and so what they did was they ordered a ton of stuff from China to try and front run the tariffs. Well, now inventories are really, really high, and so all the economic activity has been front loaded because of that, because they've ordered all this inventory. Now production is really going to start to slow down because there's an oversupply and that inventory has to be worked off. And that's why I think that the economic numbers that we see this summer are really going to start to show some weakness. So that's how I'm positioning myself. I hope this video helped you. Try and learn what I'm teaching you, and don't focus on the picks. Set alerts. Alerts are so effective. You don't have to pounce on the trade. Set the alert. Give it some time. Make sure that you're seeing the confirmation that you need before you enter the trade. An alert doesn't eat up any of your margin, and an alert doesn't require any emotional attachment. It's an opportunity for you to observe what's been happening. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I'm going to be doing lots of shorts, so make sure that you check out that tab on my YouTube channel. I've got lots of shorts. I'll probably post one midday and maybe one after the close. Always lots of great information in terms of reading price action and predicting what the market's going to do from that point forward through the course of the day. We will see you tomorrow.
Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.